In life, we encounter many enemies: jealous people, those who constantly gossip, the injustices they commit. But believe me, none of these is your most fearsome enemy. The one that gnaws at you from the inside, weakens every step you take, and keeps you awake at night. That enemy hides in your own mind in the form of negative thoughts. These thoughts confuse you, steal your courage, make you doubt yourself with "I can't do it," and even cause the best opportunities to slip away. The worst part, this enemy is always with you. Wherever you go, it resides inside your own brain. So how can you fight such an enemy? Here, the age-tested Stoic philosophy shows us the way. The Stoics taught that if you can master your mind, no one and nothing can shake you, because the one who rules their mind also rules their life. So let's explore 7 strict but incredibly powerful Stoic laws that will uproot negative thinking and reprogram your mind. I'm sure that by learning these Stoic principles closely, you'll change a lot in your life and become stronger. So subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Maybe they need it too. Turn on notifications so we can explore even more powerful lessons together in the next video. Without wasting any time, let's dive into the first Stoic lesson. This is perhaps the strongest and simplest principle of this philosophy. Do not waste energy on things you cannot control. Think for a moment. What percentage of our lives is actually under our control? You can't choose how the weather will be. You can't decide what people will say to you. Price increases, politics, the economy, none of these are in your hands. Yet we still spend our thoughts, emotions, and energy worrying about them. The Stoics actually taught a very simple formula: divide life into 2 parts. 1. Things I can control. 2. Things I cannot control. Now ask yourself, which part do you spend most of your day on? Most often the answer is the things we cannot control. And that's why our minds get tired and filled with negative thoughts. Imagine you're rushing to work and it starts raining on the street. You get annoyed, saying, "Why did it have to rain now?" But pause for a moment. Could you have commanded the rain? No, if you couldn't control it, why get upset? This frustration doesn't help you. It only makes the situation harder. The Stoic approach is, I cannot control the rain, but I can control how I respond to it. Take an umbrella, change my clothes, or simply accept it and move forward. That is mental freedom. Negative thoughts may try to hold you captive, but this law sets you free. Another example, the words of others. Sometimes we get hurt by what someone says, replaying that sentence in our minds for days. Why did they say that? Why did they hurt me? But in reality, we cannot control what they say. The only thing within our control is our reaction. You can choose to get angry, or you can smile and move on. Imagine living every day of your life by this principle. How many hundreds of negative thoughts in your mind would disappear instantly? The Stoics said, if you cannot control something, you're not obliged to carry its burden. Too often, we take on the words of others, the difficulties of the world, random events, and then we crumble under their weight. Yet this burden is not ours to bear. So let's ask ourselves, what are the things we actually can control? Our thoughts, our emotions, our choices, our actions. True power lies here. You cannot change the world, but you can change yourself. Imagine life's challenges standing before you like a massive mountain. You get angry at the mountain, scream, curse, but the mountain does not move. The Stoics said, if you cannot move the mountain, change your path in front of it. Living by this law lightens your mind. Most negative thoughts disappear because you realize, I can only control myself. Everything else is wasted energy. Remember, don't exhaust yourself over what you cannot control. Spend your energy on what you can control. This will make you both stronger and happier. Second lesson, separate your thoughts from events. One of the Stoics' most profound lessons is, it is not events that disturb you, but the meaning you give them. In reality, nothing that happens in the world is inherently good or bad. Events are simply events, but our perspective on them, the interpretation we give, either illuminates our life or casts it into darkness. For example, imagine failing an exam. One person may see it as a disaster. I failed. I'm a failure, my whole future is ruined. Another person views the same event differently. This is just a lesson. I know my mistakes now and can prepare better next time. Do you see? The event is the same, but the outcome is completely different. The difference is in the interpretation.
Take a friend's remark.
You didn't do this correctly. One person may take it as an insult. dwell on it for days and get upset. Another sees it as a warning or an opportunity to improve. The choice is yours. Which will you pick? The Stoics teach us, events are neutral. It is your mind that labels them as good or bad. Let's go deeper. People often become prisoners of negative thoughts because they attach excessively negative labels to events. Lost a game, I'm ruined. Faced a setback, I'm unlucky. Criticized, they don't like me. In reality, all of these are simply parts of life. Epictetus said, "It is not the events themselves that disturb you, but your thoughts about them." In other words, your interpretation shapes your experience. Imagine walking down the street and someone laughs while looking at you. Your mind instantly says, "They're mocking me," and you get upset. But perhaps the person was just laughing at something on their phone. Without changing the event itself, you can change your interpretation and calm your mind. Here's a practical exercise. Whenever you feel anger or negative thoughts, ask yourself, is it the event itself upsetting me, or the meaning I'm giving it? As you practice this, you'll realize that very few events in life are truly devastating. Most of the stress comes not from the events themselves, but from the negative story you build around them. Imagine if you fully embraced this law. Suddenly, people's words would affect you less. Difficulties would become lessons, and failure would turn into an opportunity to come back stronger. Yes, you cannot control events, but you can control your interpretation of them. And this gives you unparalleled power to silence negative thoughts. Third lesson, you are what you feed your mind. Just as the human body survives on food, our mind and soul need proper nourishment. You must pay attention to what you feed your mind every day. If you poison your body, you get sick. Likewise, if you poison your mind with negative news, gossip, and complaints, mental illness is inevitable. Depression, anxiety, hopelessness. Imagine starting your day by scrolling through news headlines, war, disasters, crises, fights, crimes. Your mind begins the day with these images. By evening, it's no surprise you feel tired, anxious, and hopeless. You've been pouring dark poison into your mind all day. Or consider the people around you. If you are constantly surrounded by complainers, critics, or negative people, their words will seep into your mind. Whether you want it or not, your perspective will darken. Slowly, you'll begin noticing problems rather than life's beauty. The Stoics taught, change the nourishment you give your mind. If you constantly consume negative news, step back a little. If you spend too much time in a gossipy environment, remove yourself from it. If you have friends who constantly complain, keep some distance. And what should you replace it with? Wisdom. Books and writings that expand your mind and offer new perspectives. Positive people, friends who inspire you, remain hopeful even in difficulties, and lift your spirit. Silence. Sometimes the best nourishment is quiet. Let your mind rest. Spend time in nature or simply focus on your own breathing. One of the biggest sources of negative thoughts is the invisible food that influences us. We often ask ourselves, why am I so anxious? Why do I feel so hopeless? But rarely consider that this state might be the result of feeding our minds with negativity. For days, weeks, or even months, a seed grows into whatever is planted in the soil. If you plant a poisonous seed, no healthy tree will grow. Your mind works the same way. Every thought you plant will eventually grow. If you feed it negativity, you will live a negative life. If you feed it wisdom and positivity, your mind will shine bright. Ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind every day? Which pages do I follow on social media? Who do I spend time with? Are my conversations mostly about complaints or about solutions? The Stoic approach is, free yourself from negative nourishment and feed your mind with healthy thoughts. Remember, your mind is a mirror. Whatever you put into it, you will see reflected in your life. Fourth Stoic lesson. Treat your fears as challenges to be faced. Each of us has a negative voice in our mind that holds us captive. This voice constantly whispers, what if you fail? What if people laugh at you? What if you ultimately lose? And so we face our greatest enemy, fear. Most negative thoughts stem from this invisible adversary. Fear keeps us stuck, prevents us from acting, and makes us miss opportunities. The Stoics had a different approach. Do not run from fear. Confront it. Fear is not there to harm you, it is there to test you. Each time you overcome it, you grow and develop. Think back to childhood. The first time you entered a dark room, you were terrified. Shadows lurked in every corner. But when you turned on the light, you realized there was nothing there. Fear was just an illusion created by your mind. As adults, it's the same. Most fears are not real threats, but shadows magnified by our imagination. For example, you fear public speaking because you worry, what if people don't like me? But once you speak, you realize many feel the same nervousness, and most are far less critical than you imagined. You fear starting a new job, thinking, what if I fail? Yet once you try, you discover opportunities to learn and grow. Seeing fear as a challenge gives you power. Every time you face a fear, the negative voice in your mind weakens. You prove to yourself, I can do this. The Stoics even turned this into practice. They deliberately put themselves in discomfort, walking in cold weather with thin clothing, surviving on simple meals, sometimes enduring harsh conditions. Why? To prove to themselves, I am not afraid. I can handle this challenge. This made them unshakable from within. We can do the same in daily life. If we treat our fears as tests and confront them instead of avoiding them, life changes. Afraid to express your feelings? Do it. This fear is your challenge. Afraid to make a big decision? Take the step. Growth lies behind that fear. Afraid of making mistakes? Remember, mistakes are just another name for growth. Epictetus said, our fears arise not from events, but from our perceptions of events. Fear itself does not hold you captive, your mind's image of it does. Imagine treating all your fears as challenges. How much would your negative thoughts decrease? Because now, instead of what if I fail, you will have the confidence. I can face this challenge. Fears are not meant to be avoided. They are meant to be conquered. Each fear you overcome breaks a chain in your mind and makes you stronger. Fifth Stoic lesson, remember death at all times, memento mori. For many, thinking about death is frightening. When we hear the word, we immediately think of loss, separation, darkness, and the end. But for the Stoics, this concept was completely different. They said, keep death in mind constantly, because it is the greatest motivation to live fully. Why? Because we often live as if our time is infinite. I'll do it tomorrow. I still have time. This illusion leads us into meaningless tasks, petty arguments, and destructive thoughts. Memento mori, remember death, shows the truth. Life is short, time is limited, and you must live now. This thought is not meant to frighten, but to liberate. Once you realize your time is limited, meaningless things lose value. Trivial arguments, what others think of you, fleeting worries, they all become insignificant. You don't want to waste time, because every day is precious. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized this. Live each day as if you won't see tomorrow. This does not teach rushing, but deep living, being genuine with people, valuing your family, and not postponing opportunities. Tomorrow may never come for some chances. Memento mori is also a powerful weapon against negative thoughts. How? Think about it. You will die one day. What sense does it make to fill your mind now with, why did they criticize me? Or why doesn't so-and-so like me? If the end of everything is death, these negative thoughts hold no real value. They are like old wallpaper that should be torn away. Understanding this brings lightness. You are no longer a prisoner of your fears because you have faced the greatest one, death. Those who accept the inevitability of death live stronger, braver, and freer. For example, if you want to start a new job but are afraid, ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I regret not taking this step? The answer is clear. Death destroys all the what if I fail thoughts. To live, you only have now. Remember, memento mori does not cast darkness over your life. Instead, it forces you to recognize the value of every moment. Be grateful for every breath. Cherish the time with loved ones, and do not postpone your dreams. Time is not infinite. Memento mori grants freedom, not fear. The sixth lesson, do not compare yourself to others. Comparison is one of the mind's most hidden, yet most destructive traps. You may not even notice it, but many negative thoughts arise from measuring yourself against others. Your friend buying a new car, someone else earning more, or the glamorous life. Photos you see on social media, all of this creates a voice in your mind. I'm falling behind. I don't have enough. In truth, it's the opposite. Another person's success does not diminish your value. Their beauty does not overshadow yours. Their wealth does not erase your life. Life is not a race. Everyone has their own path, and each destiny is unique. The Stoics said, focus on your own path. Recognize your own strength. Comparison is like a poison that slowly eats you from the inside. The moment you compare yourself, you hand over control of your life to someone else. Another's achievement brings envy, not joy. Another's failure gives false comfort. This is not freedom, it is captivity. Epictetus said, if you measure yourself against others, you will always be unhappy. There will always be someone more knowledgeable, wealthier, or more visible than you. Once you accept this truth, most negative thoughts disappear. Think of yourself as a tree. A pistachio tree does not look at an oak and say, why am I not as tall? Both have their own purpose and beauty. The oak provides shade. The pistachio provides food. Both are valuable. You are the same. You have your own strength, path, and mission. But why do we compare ourselves? Because our mind naturally focuses on what we lack. We see others' highlights, but not their behind the scenes. The shiny photo you see on social media may hide stress, fear, or struggle, but you see only the sparkle and feel inadequate. This is where negative thoughts are nourished the most. The Stoic approach is, focus on your own path. Recognize your own strength. Looking at someone else's path will not make yours clearer. It will confuse you. Compare only with your past self. If yesterday you were weaker than today, then you are progressing. That is the only true comparison. Imagine running a marathon, but you constantly watch others. Who is faster? Who is stronger? You lose your own rhythm and stumble. But if you run at your own pace, you reach the finish line stronger and healthier. Life is the same, your only race is with yourself. Applying this law changes everything. Negative thoughts fade because another's success no longer harms you. Another's beauty does not make you forget your own worth. When you focus on your own path, your mind strengthens and negativity disappears. Comparison is like a well. Once you fall in, it's hard to get out. The way to avoid it is simple. Focus only on your own path. Someone else's light does not dim yours. Everyone has their own time to shine. The seventh lesson, exercise your mind daily. The final and perhaps most important law of Stoicism is, if you do not exercise your mind, it will weaken. We train our bodies through exercise, building muscle and strength. But how do we train our minds? Often we let it run on autopilot, watching the news, scrolling social media, reacting to other people's words. The result? Negative thoughts, anxiety, fear, irritability. The Stoics understood this well. They trained their minds every day. At the end of the day, they would ask themselves, what did I do wrong today? What did I do right? What can I do better tomorrow? These questions may seem simple, but their effect is profound. When you exercise your mind, you begin to observe your thoughts, actions, and reactions. Negative thoughts pass through an invisible filter. You can acknowledge them without being controlled by them. Think about how often you get upset, anxious, compare yourself, or dwell on bad news throughout the day. These small daily exercises help you recognize and manage these reactions. Over time, your mind becomes clearer, calmer, and stronger. For the Stoics, this mental training was not just inner peace, it was freedom. A person who masters their mind is not a prisoner of anyone's words or the influence of events. They choose not anger but patience, not fear but courage, not negativity but calmness. This training can be applied throughout the day. When someone upsets you on the street, pause and ask, what can this teach me? In difficult situations at work or home, stop and think, how can I manage this well? Another useful practice is journaling. Write down the events, reactions, and emotions of your day. Each page becomes a mirror of your mind. It allows you to see mistakes and correct them, and to recognize successes and motivate yourself. Remember, exercising your mind is an ongoing process. Reading or learning is not enough. Daily practical exercises, observing yourself, analyzing, and improving, cleanse your mind of negativity and strengthen every area of your life. Ultimately, a strong mind ensures you are not a prisoner of negative thoughts. Fears do not break your will, and comparisons and complaints do not drain your energy. This law transforms your daily life into a gym, exercise, growth, and freedom every day. Remember this law. Exercise your mind daily. Observe yourself, analyze, and improve. A strong mind equals a strong life. Finally, remember, negative thoughts will never completely disappear. Life itself is full of them. But true power lies not in being enslaved by them, but in mastering them. The Stoic laws teach you that through daily mental exercises, turning fears into challenges, understanding the meaning you give events, avoiding comparison, and remembering life's finitude, you can gain mastery over negative thoughts. A person who controls their mind gains not only inner calm and freedom, but also becomes wiser, braver, and more decisive. Your mind is your greatest asset. Strengthen it, protect it, and pay attention to it. Apply it every day. Remember one law each morning. Review yourself at night and track your progress. These simple but powerful practices will free you from negative thoughts and completely transform your life. If you also want to become the master of your mind and change your life, like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Each share brings a little more light to your mind and theirs. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss these videos.